Hey guys, it's April in Florida, and what is this? These are tomato cages. They're tomato cages that used to have tomatoes growing on them. In fact, they used to have 18 tomato plants growing on them. What happened? Look, they're gone. My beautiful tomato plants that were growing in my tower gardens are gone. I have killed them all, and I'm going to tell you guys about it. I like to share my mistakes as well as my successes with you guys because I really want to be honest and not hold anything back and not misrepresent these towers that I love. And this is what I did. And you also see I'm missing tons of plants. And so I made at least 3 mistakes very recently. The first one was I did a conference. We brought Tower Gardens, we promoted them, and as a gift to the conference, we gave them about 35 heads of lettuce. My husband was the cook at the conference, and so he chopped them all up and served them, and it was wonderful. Several hundred people came, and it was great. However, I did not plant seedlings to replace those heads of lettuce, and that, I am ashamed to say, was a couple of months ago. And my towers still lie fallow. So the first mistake was not planting new seedlings to replace those lettuces when I took them out. My second mistake was I didn't order more rock wool. That's why I didn't plant seedlings, is because I kept forgetting to order more rock wool. So what I did, and rock wool, if you guys know, it's the substrate that the seedlings grow in, and it's real easy. I mean, it's all over the place. It's easy to find. It's typical hydroponic stuff. But I just didn't get around to obtaining some more. So my second mistake was I took some old rock wool that I had saved that had plants growing in it previously, just little seedlings that really didn't take off, and I rinsed them off and I used those. And the problem was, as I planted about 40 seedlings, maybe more, probably about 50 seedlings, and I did not realize that if you use old rock wool, it has to be barely used rock wool. Like you see didn't sprout rock wool. Once you get roots growing through the rock wool, it will compact the rock wool. And I didn't realize that rock wool had a lot of air in it, which is why it's perfect for seedlings. So there's pockets of air all throughout that. When you use used rock wool, those pockets have been compressed, and your seedling may start, but it will die. So I planted all these in my tower, and I came out a couple days ago and I had dead plants all over the place. And I was so upset. I actually went to bed, I cried, I went to bed, and in the middle of the night I had a dream about using old rock wool. And I remembered I had used the old stuff, got up, Googled it, and discovered my mistake. So I love my towers so much I dream about them, I have to admit that. So anyways, I pulled all of those old plants out. So that was my second mistake. My third mistake was I was sick. We were getting a freeze, and I thought to myself, I think my tomatoes will make it. I don't think it's going to be a hard freeze. I don't feel good enough to go out there and cover them, so I'm not. Well, guess what? All 18 tomato plants died. That was really sad because if you guys remember my tomato plants, they were 5 feet tall. We had hundreds of tomatoes, and I'm just grateful that we got a lot of tomatoes before they died. And I'm also grateful that I can start new plants and replant because you know what? It's all about just moving on from failures and not letting that get you down. You know, I did cry about my tomato plants, and then I kicked myself in the butt a few times, if that's possible, and then I thought, you know what, I'm just going to move on because gardening is really about going with the flow a lot of times. The towers make it a lot easier to garden, but there are mistakes that we make. There are problems, and you know, every day's a new day. We have new beginnings, and we serve a God of new beginnings, so He gives us new beginnings. So let's give ourselves new beginnings and not to be too hard on ourselves. My last mistake was growing this tomatillo plant without researching about it. It had lots and lots of tomatillos on it. It actually made it through the freeze, so I was so excited. And then I'm looking and none of the fruit is maturing. It's all staying the same size. And I thought, it's not getting pollinated because that's a sign of lack of pollination. So I looked it up, and really tomatillos need to be grown with 2 tomatillo plants. You need 2 tomatillo plants for proper pollination. So that's my last mistake. So let me tell you about what is working in my tower garden right now. I've got an eggplant growing. I'll show you what's on each of my towers. I love the purple flowers, and this one, if you guys remember last time I put it up too high and it shaded several plants, so I'm putting it lower. I've got kale. We're going kale chip crazy around here. We love it. I've got all of these that look like this are either cucumber, watermelon, yellow squash, zucchini, or cantaloupe. I've got new tomatoes. I've got new lettuce, Toscano kale. That's a spinach somebody gave me. This is one of my favorite lettuces up there. It's a romaine. And Swiss chard. We are Swiss chard crazy in this house. We eat it by the potful. Lettuce, baby Swiss chard. We got kale. Got more kale. This is the green star borer kale, and this is the green Toscano kale. Lettuce, lots of empty holes. You know what? There are a lot of promises in this tower. A lot of things that are going to be happening soon. Tomatoes. Again, one of those viney plants. This is one broccoli plant, believe it or not. It's just huge. And you know these flowers right here? We adore these flowers. They are super sweet. I never thought that I would eat broccoli flowers, but the little heads here, and this one's about to flower, if I don't pick them soon enough, then they go to flower. And what we discovered was that we adore the flowers, and they're sweeter than the broccoli, and so we just grab the whole thing off like this, and we just eat the whole thing. We just munch it right up. It's good. Toscano kale, that's oregano. Go around this way. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy. More viney plants, spinach, lettuce, that looks gorgeous. More lettuce. And really, you know, when I look at the towers, I see all the empty spots, but there is so much produce on these towers, even with empty spots. This is another type of lettuce that's really good. There's lots and lots of cilantro here, tons of it. There's another Swiss chard there. There's a chive. You can see I've harvested some of it recently. And then this is cutting celery, and this kind of celery I use in soups. Has a lot of flavor. It's not real good for fresh eating, like out of hand eating, but it's real good in soups. Gives it tons of flavor. And we try to get a chicken every 2 weeks from the local farm. It's expensive. It's $18 for a chicken, but then we will make a soup out of it. We don't buy chicken at all from the grocery store anymore. There's way too much going on with grocery store conventional meat, and we just go to our local farmer now. We pay more, but quite honestly, you know, when you grow your own vegetables, you save so much money. You can afford to splurge, and we don't eat that much meat. You know, a chicken every 2 weeks is not a lot, so I'd rather eat a chicken every 2 weeks than chicken every day from the grocery store. But everything here goes in it. Like our watercress goes in the chicken soup. Thyme up here goes in the soup. Now this thyme right here, it's served us well for, I don't know, 8 months, but I can see that it's starting to go, so I'm starting a new thyme plant. Lettuce. This again is our Chinese cabbage, or bok choy. It's really bok choy. I keep calling it Chinese cabbage. Sorry guys, but the bok choy, we're getting several harvests off this. At least a huge bunch every week off of it, and we stir fry it, and we also make what's it called? Ooh, you serve it over rice. We get beef from the local farmer, and we cook it up with bean sprouts and lots of this, and a little molasses, and well, anyways, it's good, and we serve it over rice. So right there is Starboro kale again. And you know, I love the kale in the tower garden because whatever, you know, is going on in the tower garden, you can always depend on kale to be there. It just I've never killed one. It's never not produced, and they don't ever require care. The only thing sometimes they might get is aphids, but we have ladybugs on our towers, so we don't usually have aphid problems. We've had aphids twice in the last 2.5 years, so that's it. This is the cilantro that's probably at the end of its lifespan, so I'll replace that with another cilantro. I've got more spinach here. I've got lettuce. We've been eating the spinach. There's a new tomato. Yay! There's a new viney thing. There's a beautiful head of Bibb. And if you don't know how to harvest Bibb, I take the outer leaves off of it, the big leaves, and I leave the middle to grow. Here's one of those dead plants. I guess I didn't get them all out. This is a celery here that it's unlike the cooking celery that I showed you earlier. This is a celery that you'll get stalks of celery, and we've eaten a bunch of them. I don't have a real good one to show you because we picked a bunch off, but you pick them, you can see where I picked them, and they keep growing. So it's a great way to eat celery because I don't know if you guys have celery rotting in your fridge like most people do, but so there's a dead plant, there's a dead plant, but that's my mistake, and I have learned from it. So watercress, which we put in soup. You know what I do with it? And a lot of dishes that I make, I'll take big handfuls of watercress and I'll blend them up in my blender, and I add it to the food, and it has a nice peppery, spicy flavor, and nobody knows it's really in there, but oh man, I know, because I mean, just look at all that incredible nutrition. So I'm giving that to my family. They like the watercress, but I think if they knew that I was putting huge handfuls in every dinner I made, they might think it's kind of weird, so I just hide it by blending it up. And so it's great, and it's just incredible nutrition. It does so much for you. So that's it. That's my story. Those are the tower gardens. Oh wait, forgot to show you something. Ta-da! New seedlings that I'm starting. So I'm using fresh Rockwool. I mean, Rockwool's like $1 each, so the fact that I did that was really kind of dumb. But here's new cilantro. There's kale, a couple different lettuce mixes, green beans. I'm growing celery, parsley, broccoli, sweet chard basil, purple basil, lemon cucumber. You can see that's sprouting. You guys notice oftentimes I don't use vermiculite on top of my seeds. They seem to work just fine without it. I think you do have probably a better success, and Tower Garden does recommend that you use vermiculite on top of your seeds, but I plant them and I stick them right outside. And look, see, they come up right in full sunlight. That's okra coming up there. That's broccoli. Now here I did some vermiculite, and I have some lettuce and stuff. Oh, the reason why I used vermiculite here was, well, I had it on hand, and these are for a customer. So a lot of times for myself I'll cut corners, but for customers I want it to be just perfect, And there's some watermelon coming up. There's some tomato plants, lettuces. I've got Armenian cucumber, more watermelons. And then over here, this is all lettuce. And I'm going to put these in the tower. So, all right, you guys have a great day, and enjoy your towers, and learn from my lessons, and send me your tips, and I'd love to hear your comments. Talk to you later. Bye.